So there is quite a lot to show with Whiteboard, and it is one of my kind of favourite things. So, you know, forgive me if I get a bit carried away. So my name's Elaine Topham, and I'm the Senior Learning Technologist at the Grimsby Institute, part of the Tech Partnership. And my session today is going to be looking at using Whiteboard. So obviously Whiteboard is a really quite useful thing if we have a digital one. So you'll all be familiar with writing on a normal whiteboard, no doubt, but this is kind of like the same, but obviously digital. So a little about me, for those of you that don't know, as I say, I'm a senior learning technologist, but I'm also an MIE expert and MIE fellow for the East Midlands and Humber region. And I've got 10 years experience, probably more, in FE and HE. So that's really kind of like a little bit about me. So let's get on and talk about Whiteboard instead. So in the session, we're going to look at what Whiteboard is, how you can get into it, and we're going to look at the main thing with Whiteboard, which is the difference in the different versions. So hopefully we're going to get a little bit hands-on, and we're going to have a little bit of a play around with Whiteboard in the session. So that hopefully will be the case. And what we're going to look at as well is I'm going to demo some of the features of Whiteboard and how you can then make your whiteboards available to students, and how you can use them as well as kind of read-only whiteboard. So has anyone got any questions before we get started? No, brilliant. Okay. Right, so fantastic. So we've got your digital whiteboard. So really Whiteboard is just that. It is a digital whiteboard that you can write on, and it saves every whiteboard that you do. So whether you go and create a new one or whether you keep the same whiteboard and just add your notes in different sections, it's entirely up to you. But one of the great things about Whiteboard is, rather than it just being the teacher writing on the whiteboard, is the digital whiteboard can actually become the more collaborative experience. So you can actually use your whiteboard and have multiple people editing it at the same time. It can get a little bit chaotic. I can see we've got 20 or so people in the session, so this is going to be fun. But the idea with it is that you can set students tasks and get them to complete things. If we were talking about business support teams, they use Whiteboard as well, so they can use it for planning, for projects and for things like that. One interesting thing I discovered when we got our Surface Hub was the app that I'd been using for ages to write on was actually Whiteboard. So that I didn't realise when I first started using it, but then when Whiteboard came, I was like, this is the Surface Hub app. So I think Whiteboard's a really fantastic tool. It's available on Windows 10 from the store. You can use it from Office 365. And you can also get it on the iOS App Store. Unfortunately, it's not available at the minute on Android. But that's generally a little bit about the Whiteboard. So some of the advantages, that I think there's probably a lot more. But the idea with Noteboard is you'll never lose your notes again. So every single whiteboard you create, whether it's in a Teams meeting or whether it's through Office 365, as long as you're connected to the internet, it's going to save it and it's going to start to sync it to the cloud. So it's a little bit like OneNote or your OneDrive documents if you create them through there. The other good thing is, as I said earlier, everyone can edit at the same time, so you can actually see that real-time collaboration going on. And one of the things I really like about it is you don't have to clean it. So the amount of times I've seen tutors actually fill a whiteboard, a real physical whiteboard, with some really good notes. You know, they've spent time writing those equations or those things up on the board, and then at the end of the lesson they have to wipe them away. And yes, we can take a photo, and yes, you know, we can do things like that. But one of the things with that, and you'll all know as teachers, that you then get marking on the whiteboard, so it's never really a whiteboard anymore. And your pens never run out, and you can have multiple coloured pens, even a rainbow pen. So it's one of the things where you've got so many different options with it. You can't put a document onto a whiteboard. You can if it's magnetic, but you can't actually go and put a document onto the whiteboard and then write on it and all of you collaborate on it, whereas you can with Whiteboard. So it has a whole range of advantages. It does have a couple of advantages that I've managed to think of. but there we go. So the downsides for me, the main one is the disparity between the features between the online version and the app version. So that's one of the main things we'll look at in this session. And you also need to have an internet connection to view your boards. So it does have its slight drawbacks. The internet usually works, but we've had the odd problem today. So it isn't, one of the things that's 100% reliable. Your physical whiteboard it's there on the wall. I understand that. But this is kind of a cool way if you're working in a remote learning situation to have the same kind of features, but without needing to be in a physical space together. There's also, I'm not going to demo it in this session, but there's actually also a feature that the whiteboard can do, I believe, with a certain type of content aware camera. So it will actually kind of transparent a person in front of a real board if someone's in a room. But I'm not going to demo that today because I don't have that facility. But there's quite a lot you can do with Whiteboard. So usually at this point, I'd start to look at the features of Whiteboard. But because they're so different, I think the best way to look at them is for us to have a little bit of a hands-on play with one first. And then we're going to I'll demo some of the features of the actual app because they're so different that there is a lot of change between the two. So let's have a look. So your whiteboard collaboration in Teams is where we're going to start. So just straight in a Teams meeting like this, you can use a whiteboard for collaboration. You don't need to have set it up in advance, and you can literally just start it from the share tray menus. It doesn't need sharing. That's one of the things with Whiteboard. If it's attached to a meeting, you don't need to share it because the people in the meeting will have access to it. So that's one of the things to bear in mind. That's one of the advantages of using it through Teams meetings. The recent updates in August actually allow now. It was a little bit restricted before through the Teams meetings. It only allowed digital ink. But now it actually allows text and like sticky notes. So even students that might be on a phone or something like that should be able to take part. Because the iPhone users have said it's a bit awkward. So, and you can see who's editing your whiteboard as well. So while you're actually on it, one good little tip I would say is if you are using Whiteboard, one good thing to do is have the Whiteboard app open and have the students collaborate in the online version so that you can see what's going on. So let's have a go. I will just leave this here a second and we'll see if anyone's got any questions at this point. There's a code up on the screen that you can redeem for points on the mech if anyone wants to capture that and go and get yourself some points. So I'll leave that there a second. Let me just see if there are any questions. Can use Whiteboard direct from Canvas. I don't know whether it integrates in Canvas, Deborah, but you could potentially put the link onto Canvas. I'm not sure whether we get a embed code. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if there's embed code, you could probably embed it as well. But we'll have a look. We'll see if we can do that in the session. So thank you. Did we have a couple of hands up there or?
Yeah, I put my hand up. I'm just thinking of collaborative working in the classroom and obviously with social distancing and group work. Could you have more than one whiteboard open at the same time for a class if you wanted different people to research different things, or is it only one per meeting?
Yeah, it's only one per meeting. So, and it will be the same one for that meeting. So no matter who opens it up after it's been opened. So yes, unfortunately you can only have one in the meeting, but there is a feature coming to Teams very soon. It's already started to roll out and it's called the breakout rooms, which I think if you're using breakout rooms, you could possibly, I don't know, obviously because the feature's not here to test it, Jenny, but I would have thought if you've got breakout rooms which create separate meetings, you might be able to get whiteboards in there. An alternative, I suppose, would be to create a separate whiteboards in advance and then share the separate links with the different groups that you wanted them to edit. That would be one other alternative, but I suppose you could just have them editing different portions of the whiteboard as well. I suppose it depends what you're getting them to do and what content you're putting on there.
I think different portions would work well, wouldn't it? Because if you set it, so can you set it a bit like Padlet, so you have it in different sections?
Well, we're going to see. So the the online app, not so much, but you could just draw a line and write group A, group B, group, you know, and use it like that and hope they put it in the right place. Yeah, you'll see there is another feature in the actual Whiteboard app, but you'd all have to be using the app at this moment to use that, and it's called the grid feature. You can put notes in it, so I'll show you that in a moment.
Thank you very much.
I'll come back to that, Deborah, later. Okay, so basically, let's have a little play with our thanks, Alan. Let's have a little play here with our whiteboard then. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share the whiteboard with you, and all being well, and there we go, here's one that I prepared earlier. So can you all see this?
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
It seems like
Got
seems very zoomed in, Elaine.
Yeah, it's quite a big board. Is that any better? Can you zoom out on yours?
Yeah, you can zoom in and out with your mouse.
I think the scroll wheel should, yeah, scroll wheel, if you've got a scroll wheel. If you've got a touch screen, the normal pinch and zoom will let you zoom.
Yeah, that's done it, Elaine.
Yeah. Okay, so what could you use Whiteboard for? Okay, I'd like you to all have a little go at putting something on, whether that's a sticky note. Don't worry about ruining the whiteboard, it's absolutely fine. I just want to see what you all get on there, and you'll hopefully be able to see how this works. So you probably notice while you're all doing this that there's little initials on everything that's being added. And that's the initials of the people that are actually collaborating at the time. Oh heck, we're having fun with that, aren't we? Good afternoon all. I think that Whiteboard is great. Excellent. Agreed. I think it's fantastic. So those of you sticking the sticky notes on. Oh, I can see we've got, is that Fab and Weld in the room? Okay, yeah, so this is good. So you can all see how that would work. We've got a bit of overwriting going on here, but now imagine if I'm in a classroom and I've got a display and I'm writing away, and then I pose the task to the students and they can all complete that sum, or they could all fill in the missing word, or maybe you've got a diagram, which I'm going to show you shortly. What you may notice further down, any of you that have scrolled down, is there's quite a lot of areas that just say this content cannot be displayed, and that's what I was talking earlier about, the difference with the two apps. So that's a bit of a disadvantage. You need to know the difference when you're using it to know what features are going to work with your students, especially if they're using the online version. So we're looking like we're having a great time. Oh, someone's drawn a rose. It's beautiful. Excellent. The sticky is a good tool. Excellent. The sticky is a great tool, and when it's combined with one of the features that you get in the app, then it's a fantastic tool. What you can do with these is you can actually, I don't know if you can do it in this version, probably not, but in the app version you can actually change the colour of the sticky notes as well, so you've got a bit more kind of control over the whole experience. And that's what I was saying really, is if you're wanting the full functionality, is definitely the teacher needs to be using the app, but you know, it's nice if the students can as well. So have we got any questions, anyone?
could I ask Elaine, if you click on open in app and the students click on open in app, does it continue to collaborate, or does that stop it from, or does that bring it out of the meeting?
No, it will. Well, it'll take you out into the Whiteboard app, or it should take you out into the Whiteboard app if you've got it installed. I will say at this point, if you're on a Giphy device, I can't guarantee you'll be able to install it. You might be able to because it comes from the store, but it will just open it straight out into the app. I've actually got it open in the app over here, so I can see the joy that's happened. And on the app, you actually get the little people pictures. So you can actually see the profile pictures of the people that are editing, whereas you don't get that through the online version. If anyone wants to try the button, do feel free to, but yeah, it's great. I'm struggling to zoom out because my touch screen doesn't want to work. It's all good. Okay, so if we haven't got any questions, I'll carry on. Oh, we have 2 hands up actually. Sorry, apologies. I think we'll go Kelly Carr.
Is there any facility to, if a student had an image to put with their Postit, for example, is there facility to do that?
In the app? Yeah.
On just on Whiteboard itself, yeah, just to actually pin photographs on there as well as written image, written type.
Yeah, if you scroll right down this page that you're on at the moment, go further down, you'll see there's some pictures there that I'm going to demo within a second. So you can actually insert pictures, but you have to be on the Whiteboard app. So not through Teams, not through online, but through the Whiteboard Windows 10 version. I'm not sure about the iOS version because I don't use it, but yeah.
Sorry, just seeing those images, thank you.
No, that's all right. That's all right. So and you'll be able to, if the teacher has, what I'm saying, if the teacher has the app, they can put the content on, and then the students can draw on it. So it has that, but it just isn't there to put in on the online one yet, which is one of my main problems with it at the minute. But it's getting there. It's getting there. They're bringing it more in line.
Yeah, thank you for that.
No worries. Tom.
Hi, Elaine. I love platforms like this where you can kind of open this up. Obviously, you're going to get the inevitable random posts, inappropriate posts, think students writing things they shouldn't write. I love the fact that even with a group of staff, you still get that as well, which is brilliant. Is there any way to filter what gets written on here or posted on here prior to it being posted? Just thinking if you were using this with a group of particularly troublesome learners that might use this opportunity to write all sorts of things on here. Is there any way of managing that?
Not that I know of.
Deleting it.
Yeah, not that I know of. You can when you share your boards, not through the Teams, but through here. You can have them as read only on the app. Yeah. No, I don't think so, Tom. I'm afraid you have to just keep your hope. I think it is one of those things where you know your group of students,
yeah,
and maybe just have some kind of activities to start off with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. Okay, we have got so many Post-it notes on there now. It's amazing. Fantastic. So yeah, it's a really good tool for just simple kind of collaboration if you're wanting to just use something like a digital your own whiteboard in class perhaps. I mean, I'm thinking kind of like a hybrid situation. So you might be in a classroom teaching half of your class, the other half might be at home. So it might be a case that, you know, you could use this and have the students that are at home still contributing to tasks as you're doing them. So that's one way you could use it. Right, back to the chat. What we got going on here? Right. Students will draw some silly images if they only have pen and paper. That's absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely right that no matter what you do, they're going to like do things. So you just have to kind of try and get them used to being responsible with it. But yeah, oh, I've got quite a few. So Joel, I've just answered that one, I think, with the foul language. Is the app Liveboard interactive, Coralie? Do you mean the whiteboard?
Now I'm looking at which app to download.
It's just called Whiteboard, I think. Microsoft Whiteboard.
Thank
It's
you.
got blue thing with a squiggle and a pen.
Thank
No worries. Yeah, it's on my team screen. Yeah, they'll have to learn to be responsible. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right, because, you know, if they got onto an online forum online, then it's not appropriate to do it there. So it's kind of teaching them that responsibility, and it will happen. It will. It happens in all of my staff training, so it's going to happen with the students. But yeah, just trying to do things like that. Yeah, Fab and Weld. I can see your names on there. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at demoing the app to you now. Some of you might have already gone and got it, which is great. Yeah, iOS does have it all. I thought so, Ellen. I just don't use iOS, so I can never be 100% confident with the iOS stuff. But yeah, okay. So let me see if this will work. This is where it could all go terribly wrong. I don't know what. Let's just share that. Right. Okay. Can we see that? Yes, we can see that. Okay, brilliant. Okay, this is the actual Whiteboard app then. So let me just pop this off and try and multitask on two devices. So this is the board that you've got here, and you can see now the content that you couldn't see before down the bottom here. So we've got a note grid there, which is what I was talking about when we was talking about organising different tasks that different students are working on. You can add in your note grids and you could assign them to different groups. Again, that needs the app at the moment, but you know, then you can put in your Post-it notes. So you've all seen the Post-it notes there, and you can put those in, and then they actually can be changed colour. So we can change the colour of these, and then that indicates either a student that's putting notes in that colour. You don't have that many colours, so you might have it by group, or like I've got here, these are planning tasks, and purple is design and implementation. So you can see already with the app, we've already got a lot more ability to customise just a simple sticky note in there. And so that's one of the things that I really wanted to get across in this session. I'll show you how to put the note grid in a sec. Down here is a template basically, and there's some built-in templates in Whiteboard that will allow you to just pop them straight onto your whiteboard, and then these will actually just work like that. Again, this will only work in the app. So that's one of the things. What does the app tile look like? Coralie, can you see right down the bottom of my screen next to the Teams one? There's a little icon there. That's what Teams should look like. Okay, so yeah, so basically this is a template. We'll show you that in a second, and I've got loads of images down here that I'm going to do some absolutely amazing things with in a second. So let's have a look just at some of the simple stuff. So down the bottom you'll see we've got the pens. So you'll have noticed on your options of pens you didn't get very many options. Thanks, Alan. And here we have got tons of them, tons and tons and tons and tons. So I can now come along and, oh, what have we got? Noughts and crosses. Oh, I reckon, hey. Okay, so I've won. But we've got a nice rainbow pen there. I know that's probably not appropriate to some of the subjects, but it can be good for creative things. Get your students writing, you know, in the style that suits them. And I think that's one of the things about having these kind of options, is it gives people that choice. So that's your pen options down the bottom here. Obviously you've got a highlighter, which can be good if you've put a document on, so you can highlight things on it. It won't fill it in, it will just highlight it, obviously. And obviously we've got a rubber there, and we have a ruler. So the ruler can be really, really good. One of the things I like to do with a ruler is if I'm actually drawing a line, I know that's not exactly right. There you go, done it in a highlight, there you go. And I don't need to worry about how straight that line is. Okay, so I can move along now, I can just do that like that. And I don't need to worry at all about my pen, my hand, or anything like that. That ruler is just going to keep my line perfectly straight. So say I'm now teaching maths or something like that. Poor students. Okay, so I've got a line there, you know, maybe this is a triangle. Let's do it different little thing here. Oh, did we notice that? So that's the ink to shape. So you draw a shape and it converts it into an actual shape for you. It's still digital ink, we can still rub it out, she says. It's not wanting to rub out for me, oh it is. Ugh, everything's not working for me today. Okay, it doesn't rub out. Moving on. But you can draw a shape and it's quite simple. The options are up in the top there. So you'll see I've got ink to shape on. But what I was trying to show you with the ruler, before I got distracted by my demo not working, was how you can then measure angles. So if you're teaching maths, engineering, anything like that, where you need to actually work out, where you actually need to work out what the angle is, you know, maybe a student is drawn a diagram kind of to scale, or they've traced something and they want to work out what that angle is. They can do that with the ruler, the little angly thing there. So it's quite good, and it's really quite useful, the ruler, just as a ruler. We've got the Lasso select here as well, which will let you actually select multiple bits of content, and then you can actually move those around, delete them, cut them, do whatever you like. And that can be, again, quite a useful little feature. Talking about the Lasso, let me just pop down to one of these images. So I've got an image here. Let's take the little horse. I'll take him out. Oh, let me make it bigger. Thank you. So I've got a horse now. Nice horse. And, you know, it's a picture. And I can't rub it out because it is a picture, but perhaps I want to edit this horse and maybe want to make it into a unicorn or something different like that. Just see, I've got a hand up there, just 1 second. Alan, do you have a question?
No, I don't, no.
No, no worries, Alan. I just saw your hand was
Yeah,
raised. Thought I'd
no
missed you.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so ink in them. So the Lasso tool. If I pop in like this, look. So I've just oh no, I'm doing the wrong things now. Look, I've got all distracted. So I'll select my horse, and one of the cool little things you can do with Whiteboard is you can actually use this magic wand up at the top here. You'll also see next to it we've got the like reaction, so you can like things that are on the whiteboard as well in the app. But this is the one I wanted to actually demo to you, was this. Let me just copy that a moment, and over here and paste that there. So now we've got two horses. Fab. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this little wand up at the top. Okay. All right, so what's happened there is it's actually turned my picture into digital ink. So if I wanted to come along and actually, you know, change something there, let me just lasso it now. So now, because it's digital ink, I can turn it into any colour I like. I can delete parts of it. I can, you know, get rid of its hair. I can do whatever I like because that image is now digital ink. So it can be really, really good if you've got a picture of a diagram, maybe some circuitry. I will say not all diagrams work particularly well. It's just a case of try it to see if you've got a diagram that's very clear. It's Maine, sorry Marla. But yeah, his hair's gone. But basically we can just get rid of the entire horse now, it's gone. So that is one of the really cool things with it as well. But I also like, and this is kind of the reverse of it. So perhaps I've written something. Let me get a pen on. No doubt. I like horses. So my handwriting's not the best. So let's just grab that. I have now selected that, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the magic wand on it. So we're going to use the ink beautification. So this is the reverse. So this is actually turning my really, really poor handwriting into something that I can now select and move as like text, and I can resize it if I can get the right button. So this is just one of the really, really useful features of Whiteboard if you've written a lot of text and perhaps your handwriting like mine isn't the best. And so you can actually select it all and then just transform it into actual kind of written font. It's very useful, and one of the features that I quite like with Whiteboard. Are there any questions at this point? Lovely. Right, so let's have a look at how we put some of these fantastic little features in. Oh, there's this as well. I forgot about that one. So another feature in Whiteboard is the ability to capture text from an image. So you can see here I've taken a photo of some of the sessions we were planning for today, and I've actually used the magic wand there to transform it into text. So I can then edit that. That now is digital ink, so I can delete that. It's picked up my handwriting amazingly, you know, and that's turned that paper handout into digital ink on my whiteboard. Think about all the handouts you've got in your filing cabinets. Think about all the different bits that you've got lying around like that you could potentially take, put onto whiteboard, take a photo with your phone, your device, stick it onto whiteboard with the app. You do have to use the app, and then you can just use this to actually turn it into text straight away. It's a really, really useful feature. It saves so much time, and I'll just show you that that is, because I feel like I need to actually demo it to prove it does work, and it works that well. So I've got a copy of it there. I just press my magic wand. It does take a little bit longer, this one. If you've got a lot of text on there, will probably take quite a lot of time. So while that's doing that, let's just see about the embedding. Yeah, I don't know if you can embed it, Karen. I would have to get back to you on that one, but I don't think you can, but I could be wrong. If there is anyone in the session who knows, please feel free to come off mute. Or yeah, I don't think it sends it as editable though, Alan, to the OneNote, does it? I think it sends it with a little thing, like, yeah. So I don't think it is, but I think you could post a link, and then that will take them off into the Whiteboard tab, because it is available in Office 365. I should probably show you that actually, but I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, so you can get a link, you can add other people, but obviously I can see that you lot are all on it because you're on there because you're in the actual meeting. So yeah, unfortunately no. Not as far as I know. If I find out that you can, I'll correct myself quite happily. But yeah, so it's finished now, and you'll notice it's picked up some of the font as purple for some reason. That's not a problem, you know, you can just lasso it and select it all if it'll let you do it. There you go. You can just lasso it. Thank you. And you can just change the colour to a particular colour you want, and it will change the whole thing. And then you can go and you can get rid of these lines that were on the edge of the paper. And that's a whole handout turned into digital. I'll just delete my scribble as well. Yeah, Deborah. So if you're on a work-based PC, you might have to contact IT to get it on your PC. If you're on your own, you should be able to install it, I would have thought. You normally get it from the Windows Store on a Windows 10 device. So how much time have I got? Yeah, okay. Thank you. No worries. We can always catch up afterwards, Deborah, if we need to get it set up on your PC. It's not a problem. So, okay, right. I have shown you so far some of the tools. Obviously, the A at the bottom there is just text. I'm not going to demo that. That's fairly obvious. It's text. This one here is your Post-it notes. So you've seen we've been playing with Post-it notes a lot. Let's make a nice pink one. And that's the Post-it notes. You've seen that. The next button along is the ability to insert a picture. So we've got the option of a library image, a Bing image, or camera. So I'm actually going to use a Bing image, and it brings up your search. What shall we search for? Shall we go for a car? Okay, there's some cars. So I can now pick a car. Why is it only giving me half of cars? Let's go for that one. Right, okay, there's the car. Brilliant. Okay, so I have a car. It's a green car. And there we go. So you'll see that you've got these options. I mean, I know full well it's got the magic wand up at the top there, but when you press it, it's going to make a bit of a mess of the picture. So it's perhaps not something you want, but it's all right. You've got an undo button on there. So you can actually put multiple pictures on. So let's just go get another one. How it ever interprets my handwriting, I really don't know, but let's do that. Right. Okay, so now I've got these two, and they're actually, you know, really quite nice pictures. There we are. We've got them grouped. You should be able to group them. There we go. Is it working? No. Okay. I'm going to make a confession. I'm on my touch screen, and it's been playing up today. But these should group, but they're not doing it once they've removed that. I'll show you it on another board where I've got it set up in a second. But yeah, so in theory they normally would group, but I think maybe I'm doing that wrong somehow. But you can put the pictures in, and your students can then come along and they can actually then write on them. Maybe they can identify where things are on your diagram, you know, and things like that. So it's actually, oh, excellent, Jason. That's good. Did you, sorry, I'll just interrupt myself. Jason, did you go through the store just out of curiosity? Oh, wait for the answer, it might pop in the chat. Okay, so you can see really, I know mine's a very, very poor example here of how to label up a car, but you could do this in a lot more detail with your diagrams that you'll already have, and you can just take a picture and things like that. So this is one of the things that I wanted to kind of sort of show you. And the great thing with this, if I just go back, the great thing with this is all of your whiteboards that you've wrote, that you've done previously, that you've collaborated on with someone else, they'll all stay in your whiteboards. So it's actually, you know, it's one of the things that I really like about Whiteboard. Even if you just pull up a really, really quick thing to put up in your room. I use this one for advertising the Whiteboard app when we were at work. And I used to just leave this up on the board, and then people would come in and say, oh, what is the Whiteboard app? And because it's in the Whiteboard app, they'd actually get to see the actual features right there in front of them. So this is my little stat group. Yeah, my touch screen's not working today. I need my mouse because it's not. No, there we go. Oh, did you see that? So that's a group that I was trying to do on the other one, but my touch screen's having a bit of a day. So yeah, but that's one of the things I find, and if you think about it, this is really, really good for being eye-catching up at the front of your screen. But it's also got that functionality as well that you can get people collaborating on it. So if I just try and get back to the one that we're in. One of the things I've not really shown you so far is the ability to customize your page. So you saw on that last one, the page was actually black. You can actually choose down here, format background, and you'll see that you've got all the different ranges of colours. So we can have a grey background, we could have a black background. Obviously, depending on the content you've already got on the whiteboard, changing it to black can cause some of your content to disappear. So just bear that in mind. If you're going to use black, I'd advise you start with black. One of the things I did before this session, so this is a little tip for you, was I started the meeting early a few days ago and shared my whiteboard with no one, but it sort of enabled that whiteboard then attached to this meeting, which meant I could then go away and work on that whiteboard and put the bits of content on so that you could see them during the session, so I didn't have to set it all up. So you can do that with whiteboards, and it's a really good thing. Yes, you might need to contact IT there, David. With some you might have a problem. We'll pick up the technical issues afterwards for those internally. If you pop me an email, we'll get you sorted with it. It's not difficult. It's fine. But you'll see across here we've got all the different kinds of lined paper. We've got triangle paper. We can have graph paper. If you want to actually use that with your students, you scroll in a bit like that, Laura, so you can actually see the squares. And the thing with whiteboard is it just gets bigger. Okay, so it really does grow and grow and grow. And one of the things that I really like is you can just keep adding content. So that's where we're saying you could section it off. There's quite a lot that you can actually do with your whiteboards. So we've covered pictures. I'm very conscious of time now, and I've got all these to kind of briefly show you. Are there any questions at this point? Yeah, it does normally work stacking photos. Just for some reason on mine it's not doing it today, but you've seen the example. Yeah, I'll look into that afterwards. I thought it was deployed to the organisation, but obviously if it's not fully deployed out to the store, then it might be when we're getting problems. But it won't take long to resolve that, and we can get it rolled out very quick. I'm sure. Hope IT's not on call. Okay, so we have the whiteboard. Let's just have a quick look at some of these other things we've got on here. So we can put in our note grid. This is what I was showing you earlier. And we can grab that eventually like that, and we can move it. We can add in notes. I'm trying everything on a touch screen, so it's not great, and one that's not working great. You can name your grid as well, better with a mouse. But you can add in different post-it notes, and you've got all the different options up the top here. So you've got the ability to sort the options, and you can copy them, and you can even edit the title. Okay, so you've got your note grid. Again, though, that doesn't work in the online version, so everybody would need to be using the app version for that to work. And then the list is pretty much the same kind of thing. You pop that in, you give your list a name, and then you can set up your different tasks in there. I won't go through them all, but you just literally click on it like that, bring your keyboard up. And you can even like them as well. So you can set up a task list. This is good for team collaboration and things like that. And then people can vote on things using the likes. And then we've got obviously the templates here. Oh, I've just followed this same sort of thing with actions. But the templates are the different kind of templates that you can put in. And so we've got brainstorming, retrospective, effective meetings. That would be good. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is basically like a grid. Ooh. Having a bit of fun with that. There we go. Right, so you can see that's quite big there. But that's what that one, the to-do, looks like. That's what the old one was that I put in. You've also got the ability to put in things like stickers. You've got, which are just like little images, and you've got your PDFs and your Word documents. So I don't know. Let's see if we've got a PDF or something. Let's put a Word doc. It's bound to be a Word doc on my PC somewhere. Okay, I feel like I should say don't look, but nothing there. So probably better off looking for this. I haven't got that. It's because I'm not on my normal PC and I haven't got all my folders on here. Let me cancel that, see if I'll have a PDF. There's always PDFs. I can't really show you that, can I? Do you want to see my insurance? Okay, we might not be able to find one, but you get the idea. Yeah. What we got on the desktop, it was a PDF on the desktop. Oh look, that'll do. Brilliant. Okay, finally found a PDF I can share. So we've got you can see here it's come up with the 2 pages that are in it, and if we want to, we can just pick one of the pages or we can pick them both. So I'm just going to pick the actual map there, and I'm going to say insert selected, and you'll see now I've got my map, but it's the wrong way around, but I can just rotate it with my fingers. So I am using a touch screen, which does help, but you can work with the things. So there we go. We've got the imaging now straightforward, straight from a PDF. So we can actually edit that. We can write on it, put in things like that, explain things, thinking about orienteering, maybe for uniform sports, that sort of thing. Yeah, Mara's full of amazing ideas. Thank you, Mara. Yeah, you can use this for past papers, and then learners can work together in answering questions. And that is one of the great ways that you can use Whiteboard. It is literally however you choose to use it. I'm kind of just trying to showcase some of the different features so that you can see all the different possibilities. But it is really a case of thinking about how would you set up this digital whiteboard. So I've talked an awful lot. I think I've kind of mostly showed you everything on there. You're sharing, if it was a normal whiteboard that wasn't through, let's create a new one. Look. So this is just a new whiteboard that I've just created. If I wanted to share this with somebody, then I can actually invite them by name like that, or I can post it to Teams, or I can get a sharing link for this whiteboard, or I can send it to OneNote. So it depends on what you're using with your students as to how you'd maybe do this. If it was Canvas, you'd go for the sharing link. Obviously, if you was using Teams, then you'd post it to Teams. And if you're using Class Notebook, either in Teams or in Canvas, then you could post it to the OneNote. So it's just a case of however you're using your own platforms and then fitting the whiteboard around that. And it, like I say, you can access it from Office 365. It probably won't show on the list of all apps. You probably need to go through all apps and choose Whiteboard. But that's kind of how you can share your whiteboards. Very, very straightforward. It's just like sharing a OneDrive document or anything else like that. How do you get, I've just spoke that mark, apologies. Let me just stop sharing. I won't stop sharing, it won't give me the button. How do you get Whiteboard to show in a Teams meeting? So in a Teams meeting, it's very hard to show you actually, Mark, because when I do it, I can't share my screen because it's part of the share screen. So it's when you go to share your screen, the share button next to the camera and the mic, and then the share tray thing. When you go to that, it's right across at the end on the right, and you'll be able to see, it should hopefully say Whiteboard. Now, I don't think that'll pop up in all of the Teams meetings, like if it's in a chat, I'm not so sure. Oh, it did it, brilliant, eventually. Yeah, in a chat, I'm not so sure whether the Whiteboard is enabled, but yeah, through a meeting like this in a team, yeah, it's all good. Microsoft Whiteboard not playing at the minute. I bet you're all trying together. Yeah, it sometimes can be the case, Coralie, if there's a lot of people go for things at the same time, it can cause a bit of demand, but you can work it through Office 365, Deborah, excellent. Yeah, no, there's a lot with Whiteboard. I mean, I'm still learning it. There's a lot of tools and there's a lot of updates that come in. Oh, we've got a whiteboard. Who shared that? Whoever did, you'll notice it's the same whiteboard that we were using in the session. So that's what I was saying, is it doesn't matter once you've started a whiteboard in a meeting, when you go back, if you're going back into the same meeting, you'll get the same whiteboard. So it's good for, having collaboration, working with students, having them to go back to something. You might have a little channel or something set up that they can go in and do that in a meeting. What we got going on now? Is this Jason? Oh yes. Hello, Jason's gone. We're playing with our sharing. That's fine, go for it. I've got a pen selected, but when I click on the whiteboard, it's just moving about. What have I done? What version of Whiteboard are you in, Karen?
Is that me?
Yeah, Karen McSparran, you've said I've got a pen selected, but when I click on the whiteboard, it's just moving about. What have I done?
I don't know what version I've got. To get on it with, because I was late into the training, so I didn't get clicked on. I was 10 minutes into it, so.
You're all right, Karen. There's another Karen. The other Karen.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right, Karen. It's quite. There's quite a few people in the meeting, so I'm just. Yeah, sorry, Karen McSparran. Do you know which version you're in?
No idea.
Bless. No problem. Is it part of the Teams meeting?
No, I opened it on my laptop.
Right. So you probably got yourself into the Whiteboard app then.
Yeah, it's got a lot more options than I've seen on the online versions.
It does. It absolutely does. So what probably has happened? Just occurred to me. All right. Do you have a stylus, a pen, or is it you just got a mouse and keyboard?
I've got a mouse and I've got a touch screen on my laptop, but using the mouse or using the touch screen is just moving the background about.
Okay. So on the three lines up at the top right. Can you see where it says active pen? Can you turn that off? And then try when you go back. You should see there's a little pen icon down the bottom, and then it will let you draw with your finger.
Cool.
Yeah. I think if it's got active pen on it, it thinks you've got a stylus, so it thinks you're moving is you're trying to move as opposed to draw. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I think we've broken teams today, Mara. It's okay. Are there any other questions from anyone? If not, I've got a question for you. Do you think you will use this in your classrooms?
Yes, I would.
Excellent, Karen. I think for you do biology and things like that, don't you, in science experiments?
Yeah, so it'd come on really well for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything gets linked in all the body systems from cell to organ system, so it would really work well.
Yeah, and like on that one we were playing with, there was a skeleton, but you could put all the other diagrams coming off of it, like a brainstorming type thing. Not brainstorming, you know. And they could then draw around it and like outline what the parts are and what the functions are and how bits all work together.
Yeah, and also I could add it on and they could do it for own work, because a lot of it's set as own work because of the time consumption. So
yeah, you could actually use it as the board in class, write your notes on it, and then they fill out the homework at the bottom.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes, you'll use it. That's good. It'd be good for wiring diagrams. Oh, Glenn, it'd be brilliant for wiring. They can even draw them. You can put all the components and they've got to wire it up with a pen. It'd be great. I had one nice class. I'll move on, Alan. It may be possible to use it with online support as well. Yeah. Fantastic tool. No, because we don't work as a group, but maybe for online learners. Yeah, if you've got online learners, that might work. Thinking group your team as well, though, Pauline. You know, as a team, if you're working at the different sites, you can all work together on a whiteboard if you're having an online meeting. So it might come in handy with that. Perhaps not with your learners, but HGV schematics. Yeah. That'd be amazing. I mean, that's the kind of thing when you're looking at it. And to be honest, they could probably get around that on the online version of Whiteboard. If you've got the app and you've put the pictures in, and then they can just wire things up or connect the dots. I don't know. Apologies. But yeah, so I do think Whiteboard is a fantastic tool. And I just think it's something you could definitely all use. It's just how you use it. But any more? Lovely. Greeted by silence. I like it. It's excellent. So fab, I'll stop the recording there, and thank you so much for coming to my session.